Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. Tonight, people across the Twin Tiers are preparing for Juneteenth celebrations tomorrow, while also celebrating early the news that the day designating the end of slavery in this country is now a federal holiday. Big Fox's Matt Kleindens reports.
Good evening, and local events are being set up to allow residents to celebrate and learn about the nation's newest holiday, Juneteenth. With Juneteenth officially designated as a federal holiday, celebration plans are underway in downtown Elmira. Local organizations are coming together for Elmira's Juneteenth celebration at the Economic Opportunity Program. The event will feature different exhibits, musical performances, food, and games throughout the afternoon.
It's about community. It's about bringing everyone together and us enjoying our time and kind of be able to celebrate and appreciate this time that we have with Juneteenth.
The event will also educate residents about the holiday, as well as explore Elmira's history in the abolitionist movement.
We are, working, to bring the history of Juneteenth, and there's some tours, in regards to the Underground Railroad.
I think a lot of times when people think about Juneteenth, they think about it, as a black holiday, and it's not a black holiday, it's a American holiday. And we all should be participating in it and enjoying, and learning about it.
Babatunde Ayonfadon says while tomorrow is a day of celebration, it's important to remember how much work is left to be done.
This step right here is a step, and there's so many more steps that we have to get to as well to really, get, the equity in the country that's needed.
Elmira's Juneteenth celebration runs from noon to 4 on Saturday. Matt Kleindens, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
Watkins Glen International will allow 100% capacity for the upcoming NASCAR race. This will be the first time the 38,000-seat racetrack is at full capacity for a race since 2019. The announcement comes after most COVID restrictions were lifted by Governor Cuomo on Tuesday.
It just all timed out where this past week, where the governor and his team announced that we could be full capacity, lift the restrictions, and just move forward. I tell you what, you want to see an excited crew, you come down here to my office and see the horses as they're ready to hit the gate.
Watkins Glen will continue to work with local and state health officials on any safety protocols. NASCAR's Go Bowling at the Glen race runs August 8th at 3 p.m. CDC data shows 15 states have reached President Biden's goal of vaccinating 70% of adults against COVID-19 with at least one dose. Meanwhile, 13 states have fully vaccinated more than half of their residents, and nearly 148 million people, or 44.5% of the U.S. population, are fully vaccinated. A pair of Supreme Court decisions are reverberating across the country. The High Court shot down another challenge to Obamacare, but also offered up a robust defense of religious liberty. Doug Lazater in Washington with a look at those cases and what could come next.
President Biden and other Democrats very happy about this big win for Obamacare, but this has also stunned some of the most vocal critics of the court's newest justice. The High Court once again came down on the side of Obamacare, and Democrats celebrated from the White House to Capitol Hill.
So let me say definitively, the Affordable Care Act has won.
The court ruled on a technicality, saying the plaintiffs in the case against the Affordable Care Act didn't have standing to sue. But this was the third major challenge for the law, and a further indication that it is here to stay. And the decision offered a stunning rebuke to those who opposed last year's confirmation of Justice Amy Coney Barrett, arguing that she was chosen specifically to dismantle the law. She actually upheld it. Then Senator Kamala Harris helped lead the charge.
This hearing is a clear attempt to jam through a Supreme Court nominee who will take health care away from millions of people.
This is an example where the rhetoric quickly outstrips reality. And I doubt many of these members are going to come back and apologize to her.
Another big decision, the court unanimously backed a Catholic group in Philadelphia that refused to place foster children with same-sex couples. Chief Justice John Roberts writing, "The refusal of Philadelphia to contract with CSS for the provision of foster care services unless it agrees to certify same-sex couples as foster parents cannot survive strict scrutiny and violates the First Amendment." And this is just the start. We're expecting another wave of decisions from the High Court on Monday. In Washington, Doug Lazater, Fox News.
A bipartisan infrastructure proposal, expected to cost nearly $1 trillion, is gaining momentum on Capitol Hill. But it comes as some Democrats work on a second, more expensive economic package. Madeline Rivera is in Washington with the latest on the talks.
Discussions about infrastructure are moving forward along two tracks.
Infrastructure talks among a bipartisan group of senators are chugging along, but some Democrats think their proposal will ultimately be too small and are already eyeing a bigger economic package that could cost up to $6 trillion.
The second deals with components of the American Jobs and Families Plan, which we will consider even if it lacks bipartisan support.
Republicans have criticized Democrats for massive spending.
I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you don't want the government to waste your money in this way.
All of this happening before the full details of the narrower bipartisan plan have been released. It's expected to cost $974 billion over 5 years and would include $110 billion for roads and bridges, $66 billion for rail, and $15 billion for electric vehicles. Though the details of how to pay for the proposal are still being discussed, Senator Joe Manchin says there is one thing that's out.
Is the gas tax raised according to inflation still within this plan?
No, I don't think it's in the plan at all.
Several senators, meanwhile, are hoping to put cybersecurity investments in the package in light of recent ransomware attacks on the country's infrastructure.
If the private sector needs help from the government, I think we're willing to make sure that happens.
The complete framework of the bipartisan infrastructure deal is expected to be released next week, and the White House says it continues to be encouraged by the progress. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
After more than a year of working from home, some Americans are starting to head back to the office. Wall Street is in a rush to end remote work, whether employees like it or not. Christine Romans has that story.
As more people get vaccinated, we keep bringing more back.
At Bank of America, one of the top banks on Wall Street, employees are already encouraged to get back to work in person. And if they're not already at their desks this summer, the company's CEO says they'll be there by the fall.
The view is after Labor Day, our view is all the vaccinated teammates will be back and will be able to operate fairly normally, and we'll then start to make provisions for the other teammates as we move through the fall.
Manhattan's financial industry is clearly in a rush to turn the page on this era of virtual work.
If you work in New York and you work in Wall Street, you're probably going back to work soon.
Goldman Sachs has already asked its employees to return to work this week. At Morgan Stanley, where some New York employees are also back at their desks, the bank's CEO, James Gorman, said Monday he'd be very disappointed if people aren't back in their Broadway office by Labor Day.
If you can go to a restaurant in New York City, you can come into the office. And we want you in the office.
JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon has long been pushing for return to work, last month saying exclusively working from home doesn't work for young people and for those who want to hustle.
New York-centric Wall Street banks are ripping the Band-Aid off and requiring employees to go back to work. One, that's for competitive reasons because they want to win, and winning is sometimes seeing customers face to face. Two would be the culture. You create culture by having people around each other. There's creative combustion, there's spontaneous interactions, there's mentorship. And third, there's additional safety in having people, face-to-face in meetings as opposed to relying too much on remote communications, especially in a world with more cyber risk.
The effects on New York's economy and morale could be vast. According to a March report from the state's comptroller, the city's security industry last year employed 179,000 people.
More so than almost any other industry, Wall Street is synonymous with New York City. And there's no question that this back to work push by the leaders on Wall Street delivers a huge vote of confidence in New York, a city that at one point was the epicenter of this pandemic.
But not everyone on Wall Street actually wants to go back to their desks.
There's no doubt that there is a bit of a divide here. Managers do want their employees to get back. They're worried about the culture. They're worried about not collaborating. But I'm told that lower level employees are not really in any rush to get back to the office right now.
Banking, the financial institutions have a very command and control culture. And historically, they have been the ones that have been slowest to adopt flexible workplace strategies. It may be about the culture they want to create, but I just don't know if it's going to be possible going forward. I honestly think they've got a rude awakening coming.
A rise in jobless claims last week is surprising economists. The rate of new unemployment claims has been setting new pandemic-era lows each week since the beginning of May. But last week, it went up to 412,000. Claims for self-employed and gig workers covered under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program also went up to more than 118,000. The increase comes at a time when consumer prices are rising at record levels, leading analysts to worry about inflation. The Federal Reserve hinted Wednesday it may raise interest rates sooner than expected to try and control that inflation. Still ahead tonight, across the U.S., vaccination rates remain the same despite warnings about the Delta variant. The latest concerns for health officials and more on a new study that suggests a significant number of people who contracted COVID-19 experience health issues more than 30 days after their initial diagnosis.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. A little bit warmer today than it was yesterday, and we're going to continue this warming trend as we head into the weekend. However, it looks like it's going to be a pretty wet weekend. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Temperatures about 8 degrees warmer in Watkins Glen than it was yesterday. Elmira around 7 degrees warmer. Corning around 9 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. We are expecting another storm system to come through. Initially, it is going to bring a little bit warmer air. A few showers and thunderstorms could be possible. We are expecting the possibility of some heavy rain in the next couple of hours, and then it starts to taper off during the day on Saturday. And then in the afternoon, it could pick up again, and that's the situation for your Sunday as well. So here's a look at your forecast. Cloudy conditions as we start off your Saturday. There could be a few showers and thunderstorms, and then some of those clouds start to break in the early afternoon. So we should see some peaks of sunshine. We warm up to around 86 degrees, and then a few more thunderstorms could be possible in the afternoon. By early next week, we have another system that will come through, and it's going to drag a cold front along with it. And so temperatures will be tumbling by the middle of next week. So we're going to enjoy warm weather out ahead of this system, but behind it, temperatures will be a good 10 to 20 degrees below normal. So our future radar is showing heavy rain for the next hour or so, and then all this rain will be pushing away by 4 o'clock in the morning, waking up just to a few isolated showers, possibly as we head into your Saturday afternoon. We are expecting mainly cloudy conditions, but then in the evening, there could be a few more showers and thunderstorms, and there could be some strong thunderstorms with some heavy rain as well around 7 and 8 o'clock in the evening. That moves away, dry conditions for early on Sunday, but then around 7 o'clock in the morning, a few thunderstorms might be rolling in toward Hornell, Bath, Corning, Elmira, and then that should start to taper off. A few more showers possible in the afternoon, and then again, we have another system coming by early next week, and it's going to keep the rain chances going for early next week as well. So, as you notice, by Monday afternoon, as that cold front approaches, we are expecting a few thunderstorms. Here's a look at your forecast. It will be cloudy tonight. There will be a few thunderstorms rolling in until the early morning hours. More rain tomorrow, especially in the afternoon. Highs around 87 degrees in Corning and 86 degrees in Elmira. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Temperatures staying in the mid-80s through your Sunday, and then we could see highs around 90 degrees on Monday. It is going to be a pretty warm day. By the end of the day, there could be a few thunderstorms that will also roll into your Tuesday as well. Much cooler conditions with highs in the 60s for the middle of the week.
Across the U.S., the vaccination rate remains the same, despite the warnings about the Delta variant, the latest to concern health officials. We are also learning more about a new study that says a significant number of people who contracted the virus experience health issues 30 days or more after their diagnosis. Mandy Gaither has the latest in today's Health Minute.
It's a trend in the right direction. New COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths continue to go down.
Instead of heading into a summer like last summer
of isolation, uncertainty, and loss, we're headed into a summer of joy, celebration, and increasing freedom from the virus.
But the Delta variant, first identified in India, is still cause for concern. U.S. health officials worry it may spread more easily and vaccines may be slightly less effective against it.
It's not just the appearance of another variant, it's the behavior of this variant.
While the Delta variant accounts for nearly 10% of U.S. COVID cases, vaccination rates don't seem to be picking up. However, they're not dropping off either. Studies show at least 2 vaccines do provide protection against the variant. Public Health England found the Pfizer vaccine to be 96% effective against hospitalization after 2 doses, while the AstraZeneca vaccine has proven to be 92% effective.
We're going to continue to push vaccination beyond the 4th of July into the summer, so get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can.
Health experts say there's another reason for vaccination. A new study shows nearly a quarter of COVID-19 patients had at least one post-COVID condition 30 days or more after being diagnosed.
This can affect any and everyone, which is a big part of the reason why we are pushing these vaccines.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
An Alaska couple beat some incredible odds and are now the proud parents of identical triplets. The whole family, including the newborns, are happy and healthy thanks to a dedicated team of medical professionals. Richard Atkin reports.
With a less than 0.1% chance, having identical triplets is a very rare occurrence, and these Fairbanks parents were both shocked and excited when they discovered they were going to have a trio of identical daughters.
It is so cool. Yeah, they're like instant best friends. It's really fun that we get to look at them and see that they're different right now. Like you can tell them apart, but they're also, they're identical. So you can see how, similar they really are. It's very cool. It's just super awesome.
But having triplets does come with its own complications.
So triplets are super uncommon, and one of the things that happens with triplets is it's just hard to carry 3 babies inside of one mom. And so triplets frequently are born early before their due date. And so Kaylee and Nigel's babies were born at 34 weeks or about 6 weeks before their due date.
Thanks to a talented team of medical professionals, the mother and her daughters are all happy and healthy.
So organizing a delivery of preterm triplets is a giant logistical puzzle. So we had wonderful staff in the main operating room at Fairbanks Memorial Hospital, our entire NICU team and OB team. So we had 27 people in total to be at the delivery of these 3 babies. So we needed a team to take care of mom, and then a team for each of the preterm babies. So we had mom in one room, and then we had each of the 3 babies have an entire care team with their own doctor and their own nurses to take care of them right after delivery. And then they spent a few weeks in the NICU at FMH afterwards, and now we're home.
A unique college project allowing talented artists to create using COVID masks as their canvas. What they produced is opening hearts and minds all over the world. Jeremy Roth reports.
For most people during the pandemic, masks became a necessity for everyday life. For a group of gifted art students at MIT, they became modern canvases on which to create. The students were tasked with creating COVID masks that reflected individual and collective pandemic experiences.
Students learn how to articulate problems that they see in the world and issues that we are facing, and to communicate that and translate that through their designs.
For some, it was about directly addressing important cultural and social issues.
Making a mask to sort of address anti-Asian hate felt really fitting, but it also forced me to face quite literally the pain and grief of the past year.
The idea of being seen and not heard. There are systems in power that have the ability to take away voices from individuals, maybe inspiring them to start making changes in any way that they can.
One artist used her mask to call attention to issues with health.
So I'd like people to learn more about the serious nature of the mental struggle of having an eating disorder.
Another chose to highlight the impact masks have had on the environment.
My message is being more aware of the waste that we're creating, especially in the pandemic.
The group's work is being displayed in Venice, Italy as part of an international architecture exhibition and can even be tried on virtually using an interactive online tool that allows viewers to experience this unique modern era medium worn not to conceal, but instead to reveal. I'm Jeremy Roth, reporting.
Rosie the Riveter is headed to space. Boeing announced it is sending a batch of commemorative Rosie coins to the International Space Station on board its Starliner. The coins honor the nearly 19 million American women who worked in the aerospace industry as men fought in World War II. Also part of the load, flags of 14 historically black colleges and universities, as well as small pennants and other items representing the schools. There will be about 760 pounds of cargo flying inside the Starliner's crew module when it launches on July 30th. Talk about a makeover. You have to see the transformation of a stray dog found in Kansas City. He was so matted down with hair, he was unrecognizable and could hardly walk. Jeannie Mose reports.
Imagine a guy headed for work in the morning, walks out to his driveway and sees this.
And stopped to first of all try to figure out what kind of animal it was. They couldn't really tell.
They contacted the KC Pet Project in Kansas City, Missouri, which determined there was an 11-year-old Shih Tzu underneath that mess of hair.
Come here, buddy. So he was 20 pounds and could barely walk.
For the next 2 hours, while he was sedated, 2 veterinary staffers gave him the mother of all shaves.
It was about 6.5 pounds of hair. I mean, just instant relief that he felt to be able to get all of that hair off.
They named the hairless wonder Simon and posted before and after photos and videos. Despite the yuck factor,
not going to lie, all of those mats were quite stinky.
Simon became an internet star. Now that's one of the best good boys I ever did see. Simon was found near a wooded area. The shelter folks don't know if he got away from his owner or was abandoned and was living on his own for the months it took to grow all that hair. They say his skin is in decent shape, but he needs dental surgery.
He's actually almost learning how to walk again, too, because you can tell that he's just been so weighed down for so long.
The shelter is getting plenty of offers to adopt Simon. People seem especially smitten with his tongue, even when he was a barely identifiable mess.
The finder said when he stuck his tongue out, that's when they could tell that it was a dog.
Did he just stick out his tongue on cue? No wonder folks are panting to adopt him. Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. In Argentina, a snowman created 14 years ago is still alive in its owner's freezer. His name is Tito, and he used to be the only one of its kind in the world until Wednesday, when another historic snowstorm reached the city of Cordoba, located in the heart of Argentina. Well, Tito's creator took the opportunity to give life to Blanca, Tito's girlfriend. The wedding is scheduled for next year when coronavirus restrictions allow, and the story promises more chapters, possibly with children and grandchildren. But everything will depend on the weather for the next years. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great night.